Let's like, comment, and subscribe to our OutKick channel on YouTube. You got all of us heroes, Hot Mike, Ricky Cobb. You got Clay Travis, Dan Dakich. You got Tyrese. What are you talking about? You got Tommy Larn. You got Riley Gaines. It's awesome. Like, comment, subscribe. Hey, congratulations to UConn women. They got a national championship last night, and I saw where, Gino Auriemma said, I didn't even think we're going to make the tournament. I just saw that, and I started laughing. Like, wow, really? Paige Beckers, you're pretty good. But before we get to all of the basketball action, Charles and Shaq have been known to tell you exactly how they feel about the NBA, the modern NBA players. But the Big Diesel lost his damn mind. No. The Big Diesel lost his damn mind. He slams the NBA as a, quote, shit product. Now I'm going to say that again. Here's one of the biggest guys, biggest stars, biggest voices saying we've got a, quote, shit product. And then he doubles down. Listen to this. You remember Ben Simmons, the number one pick that can't shoot? He went on to say that Ben Simmons should be, quote, arrested. Predictably, the crumb-stained blogger boys on Awful Announcing took issue with Shaq's comments. You might want to take issue with Shaq's comments. Listen to this. This is so good.
Do you think LeBron's longevity is a byproduct of the change in the physicality of the game, too?
Definitely.
Okay.
Less physical. Right now, you get a flagrant foul, you get fined, suspended. Like, guys ain't even fouling hard no more. Back before I played, it was crazy. But when I played, it was crazy. But even before, like the 80s going to 90s, it was probably more physical then. But people get mad. It's just a product of what I see. I've seen what greatness is. Been there, played with them. I don't see that all the time over here. So you want me to give these motherfuckers the same props I'm giving them? That shit will never happen. So you can call it hate if you want. But even with the word hate, like these kids that like to throw that word around. You ain't great, and I'm great. How the fuck can I hate on you? That don't make no sense. I'm in the building. You're not in the building. So how the fuck can I hate on you? People say Charles and I, we're ruining the game talking about the product because the product is shit. Fuck, show me greatness. Like, y'all pay a lot of money for these shoes, and I want to see because be great. And I'm going to always stay on them and motivate them to be great. They can call it hate I want, but I ain't sucking these out just because they're making $400 million. A lot of these can't play, and they know it. In any era, they can't play. I'm just saying. Pick and roll, one-on-one. Motherfucker can't play, dog. Joker can play. Giannis can play. Dame, a couple of these guys can play, but a lot of these can't play. Like Ben Simmons, that motherfucker need to be arrested.
What about like a Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum can play. He's all right. I'm not going to bash him, but Ben Simmons need to be arrested. $250 for that shit.
Arrested, did you say?
Arrested. $250 million for that boy. Get the fuck out of my face. Robbing people, man. Can't do that.
Now, wait a second here. Oh, all right, I get you, but his fat ass did play when he couldn't even walk up and down the court, and all he did was put a uniform on with a belly the size of mine. Well, actually 5 times mine because he's bigger than me. So I get it. Us old heads, we think it's better when we played. It's better. We were tougher. You had to be meaner. Oh, stop. Well, in college basketball, it's never been more skilled. It's never been stronger, bigger, more athletic. And then you combine that with an ability to just make shots. My brother, who pays attention, but not really, he's too busy making hundreds of millions of dollars, is like, man, watching this tournament, can dudes shoot or what? And he's right. Same thing in the NBA. The game has changed. Shaq acts like he won an NBA championship and the MVP every year, and he was this great player. Shaq was a great player by the numbers, but in terms of being a basketball player, Shaq didn't know his ass from third base. In fact, we played him. Listen to this. So we play him in the NCAA tournament. I'm coaching. Now, when you coach for Bob Knight, you know every single movement of every single opponent. So we play Shaq. We beat him his last college game. He goes 12 for 12 from the free throw line. After the game, they asked Shaq, what do you think of Indiana? He said, man, that number 44 is pretty good. He didn't know Allen Henderson's name. Allen Henderson was a first-team All-American. Maybe not that year, but became one. Allen Henderson spent about 15 years in the NBA, and this fool didn't even know his name. That's robbery. That's robbing your college. You didn't take the time to know, or maybe your coach is robbed. I get tired Not of Charles, because Charles is self-deprecating. I get tired of Shaq's act. Everybody's stupid. Everybody's soft but Shaq. Okay, Shaq. I remember when your fat ass was sitting on the end of a bench with the freaking Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics taking up space, chasing another ring, and getting paid a hell of a lot of money, at least by normal human being standards. Do I disagree with what you actually said? I don't know. I've said this about the NBA. You go to a game, it's kind of fun. Actually, really fun. More fun than going to an NFL game. You watch it on TV, it's probably closer to what Shaq had to say. Why should somebody get arrested? I know he's being facetious, but I'm all Shaq'd out. I am. I'm glad they don't have him on college basketball. That would mean too much studying for him. He don't want to do that. There's only like 32 teams in the NBA. College basketball, you have to start with 68 and work it from there. Anyway, it is getting a little tiresome, these old heads going back at each other. Charles Barkley, Isaiah Thomas, in my opinion, they have free reign to do whatever they want. Others get tiresome. All right, here we go. This generation of former stars turned analysts seems more committed than ever to undermine the current era of basketball, which is exactly why awful announcing writer Matt Yoder, who's a friend of mine, wrote earlier this week that today's sports media still doesn't know how to talk about the NBA. Well, I disagree with that. They know exactly how to talk about the NBA. That's how they want to talk about the NBA. I mean, myself or Matt or anybody, why is the way we talk about the NBA the, quote, right way to talk about the NBA? I get it. We all think our way is best. I get that. You get that. We all get that. That's how we live our lives. But the fact of the matter is that's how they choose to talk about the NBA. And in their mind, the analysts, former player turned analyst, they're being, quote, honest. Hey, man, I'm just being honest. I'm just telling you what I see based on my experience. That's what the answer is. I don't know whether that's right, wrong, good, bad, happy, or sad, but nobody that's just being positive, nobody that just says, well, this is a great product, has a better handle on it than Shaq or those guys. They have their own opinions, and I ain't mad at it. At some point, according to Matt, the conversation around the NBA has to evolve past bitter gatekeeping and highlight what's actually happening on the court. Because if a 60-point triple-double from Nikola Jokic does not qualify as greatness, maybe it's not today's players who don't get it. Maybe it's the guys in the suits. I do have to tell you, a 60-point triple-double by one of the all-time great MVP world champion type players is pretty special. But here's the answer to that. You ready? The answer to that is, well, nobody plays defense. The answer to that is modern players just want to beat you 135 to 130. They're not interested in grinding it out. They're not interested in getting in the stance. They're not interested in playing defense and toughness. That's the modern answer. That's what Shaq and others would say in answer to that. There has never been a day as a basketball player, not as a big fat dunker, not as a big strong guy that had a good personality. There's never been a day in Shaq's life that he could play basketball nearly as well as Nikola Jokic. Never been a day, not one. Hey, I don't care how many points Shaq got. I know he and Kobe won. Okay, great. But there's never been a day that he could play basketball like Jokic. Jokic would be a basketball player if he was 6'2". Shaq would have never touched the court. 6'2" Shaq plays tight end. 6'2" Shaq's a left tackle. 6'2" Shaq could not play basketball. So when he says, I want to see greatness, well, you have seen it. And don't tell me about this whole guys don't play defense thing. That's been a wrap on the NBA forever. And now what is happening is y'all are just exposing it. So one thing I do agree with, and I will always agree with, is what Isaiah Thomas said. Isaiah Thomas said he had to make a business decision every time he went down the lane. I've said this for years. You go down the lane, someone's going to knock you out. If you want to YouTube something unbelievable, YouTube Karl Malone almost ending Isaiah Thomas's life by going to block his shot but leading with his elbow. No. Now you can't hit anybody. Now you can't flip anybody. Now you can't knock anybody down. I'll agree with that. But I don't want to hear about the whole greatness thing. Honest to God, I don't. Not from him. Michael Jordan wants to talk about it, fine. Show me greatness. I'm not sure Shaq would know. Shaq is the one that does seem bitter. I will say that. He seems very, very bitter. Childs doesn't seem bitter. Kenny seems analytic. All the other guys, I don't know. Excuse me. But damn. Weird. Very, very weird. Skip Bayless. This is so stupid. It's Monday, and I got to already start use stupid. I already got to say stupid. But this is something that drives me bat blank crazy about today's media. Everything that actual athletes do has to be critiqued by non-athletes. Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, non-athletes that sit there and evaluate it. Cooper Flagg just turned 18 years old. Cooper Flagg has, as a freshman, he made a lot of money. But Cooper Flagg, as a freshman, in an era where guys are older, in an era where we have guys in their 5th, 6th, 7th year of college sports, took a team, Duke, with other freshmen, to an NCAA Final Four. Now, let me say that again, because you got to understand the era. This is the end of the COVID year. Auburn, average age 23.2 years of age. More than the Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA team that's the best NBA team in the NBA. And this guy takes them to the NCAA Final Four in this era. And now suddenly, out of the blue, he misses a shot. They lose a game to a really good team, by the way, that's won over 30 games, Houston. And now Cooper Flagg doesn't have the clutch gene, according to this guy. I thought Cooper Flagg could put a move on the defender, really. You got to go create a shot, but you got to have a plan. You got to rise. You got to jump. You can really leap. You can sky. You've got to find and plant and go up. Really? Like you mean it, really. And take the shot that DeJuan Roberts cannot defend. But Cooper Flagg went up with a little hesitation. It wasn't a shot with real conviction and authority. Oh, shut up. Have you watched all the other pull-up jumpers that Cooper Flagg has had? I haven't. So I'm not going to pretend to say whether it had conviction or not. And there is not a soul that you will ever know or ever meet that has watched more, studied more basketball than I. And I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you. I mean, that's what I did for 30 years in a film room for 10 of them with the greatest basketball coach in the history of college basketball, Bob Knight. At least tactician. You can argue the other stuff. But I don't know whether Cooper Flagg went up with hesitation. I know he missed a shot. What are you going to do? I say it all the time. Difference in March Madness is who's going to make a shot, who's not going to make a shot. Kid for Houston down 6 made a 3. Cooper Flagg missed a shot. And this idiot, let me go on. You ready? All right. But Cooper Flagg went up with a little hesitation. It wasn't a shot with conviction and authority. And Cooper Flagg committed the cardinal sin. He left it short. Listen to this. Never up, never in. I learned that in high school from my coach. You never played. What? You supposed to never miss a shot short? What are you talking about? Miss a shot. Honest to God. You got to get the ball up on the rim, Coop. It's win or lose. It's a situation LeBron has always hated. And I've always said LeBron was born without the clutch gene. And now, even though Cooper Flagg should be in high school, I have to wonder, does he have the clutch gene? What a dick. Yeah, it's just misinformed nonsense. It's just, he is trying, like he always does, to get somebody to talk about him. An 18-year-old that took his team. This guy doesn't know how hard that is. It is hard to win a game. It is hard to get to the Final Four. It's hard to win a tournament game. And this kid took his team there. So now you're going to label him, because there are idiots that listen to Skip Bayless, so you're going to label him as not having a clutch gene? How ridiculous. How absurd. But even more absurd is that every single time we have a big sporting event, or maybe every night, depending on who's paying attention, idiots like this, Skip Bayless, have to come over and evaluate it, and people pay attention. My God, does he have the clutch gene? Because someone's going to take him first overall, and they're going to have to wonder, does he have the clutch gene? Can you grow one at 18 or 19? No. Are you insane? Every time they open, Skip Bayless is becoming Keith Olbermann. He is. He has been relegated to irrelevant. Used to be relevant, even though it's no difference what he's doing now than then. People just watched him. He's irrelevant, so he's just going to say stupid stuff. Just going to say stupid stuff. An 18 or 19-year-old can 1,000% develop a clutch gene. I will promise you that Cooper Kupp, over the course of his career, Cooper Flagg, isn't going to have any problem with the clutch gene. Is he going to miss them? Hell yeah. So did Michael Jordan, who everybody gives all the credit in the world. See, we're in a stage where we don't think Michael Jordan ever missed a jump shot. We think Michael Jordan ever missed a big shot late. He missed a bunch against us in his last college game. I don't know what to tell you. Hey, he was 20. Hell, we damn near let him shoot. And he didn't make any. Once the game was over, he made a couple. And we start, what? That's his last college game as a 19-year-old playing against, or as a 21-year-old playing against me, for crying out loud. Were we questioning Michael Jordan's clutch gene then? Probably. Probably couldn't develop it, huh? How'd that work out? Just shut up with all this. Cooper Flagg's a great basketball player. Seems like an even greater kid. Seems like a tough kid. Everybody I've talked to, you heard Billis the other day. I've heard all kind of different folks tell me, man, this dude is a bad mother. Just pisses me off. The bigger issue is having to listen to these fools. All right. So with that being said, let's break down Duke and Houston. Let's tell you what happened. Some interesting numbers. I got to tell you, I'm in Vegas, played golf all day, went back to the hotel, turned the game on, and I was going to go meet my buddies for dinner, maybe some gambling. Man, I sat there watching that game, and you know how it gets when you're tired. I said, screw it. Ordered a pizza and went to bed. It was a hell of a game, though. All right, let's go with it. All right, so Duke entered Saturday night, averaging basically 90, 85 points a game, 83.7. Okay. First in Ken Palm's offensive rating, efficiency. Blue Devils had just one field goal over the final 10 minutes and 31 seconds of the game. I say it all the time. You can get hot defensively. That's what makes Houston so dangerous. You're going along, you're scoring, they're scoring, but they have this thing, this Wisconsin Dick Bennett, Bo Ryan type thing, where all of a sudden, for about a 5-minute period, you're down 6 to them, and next thing you know, they go on a defensive stop. It's a 12-0 run. You're up 6 on Houston. They get in a stance. They start locking you up. No second shots, couple turnovers. Boom, 3-4 minutes is 12-0 run. You're down. And they suffocate you. And that's what is going to happen tonight. At some point. Not saying it's going to be 40 minutes. I mean, the other team's trying too and got talented guys. But tonight, that is going to happen. They ended averaging 83.7, but they had one field goal. One field goal over the final 10-31. Listen to this one. Houston made just 3 of its first 17 field goal attempts on the night. They finished by making 3 of their final 4 field goal attempts in the final 2:05. See, water finds its level. We told you on Friday and in videos, this team here, Houston, can shoot the basketball. And I always used to tell players, look, dude just hit 8 of 10 threes. There'll be a game. He's not an 80% three shooter. Probably closer to a 33% three shooter. He'll miss a bunch at some point. Well, Houston missed early. Houston decided we ain't missing late, and they made everything. And this 3 here, man, oh man, 6-3. That was the biggest shot of the game. It went from a 6-point deficit. You miss that. Duke gets a rebound. Game's over. Except they made it. And watch this tonight. You're going to hear 1 billion hours of analytics. And good, including right now. But I'm telling you, make or miss decides these games over 50% of the time. All right, 6 of 9, Flagg. And his teammate, I like this guy, Con Kneppel, led the way for the Blue Devils. Okay. The teenagers were the only 2 Duke players to score in double digits and combined to go 6 for 9 from 3. The rest of the lineup, 1 for 8 from the arc. 1 for 8 from behind the arc. On the other sideline, listen to this. LJ Cryer, who's really good, went 6 for 9 from deep as Houston connected on nearly half, 10 of 22 of his three-point attempts. I'm telling you, they shoot the bat. Very underrated shooting team. That's why I think they're going to win tonight. I do. I think they're going to win tonight because they're going to make more shots. Starters for both teams did most of the lifting. They did. There are only 10 total points from the bench. Houston got 6 from its non-starters. All 4 for Duke came from Malik Brown. All 4. All right. That's it. A lot of money on that bench. Flagg might have missed a potential game-winning shot. He might have. But he was also the only Duke player to make a shot in the last 13 minutes. The Wooden Award winner finished with 27 in what was likely his final college game. Man, you scored 27 in the NCAA Final Four. See, the thing is, Cooper Flagg makes it look easy. He does. He just makes it look easy. And what is he supposed to score, 50? I mean, them other players at Duke, they're making some scratch too. Step up. 11:54 left in the game. 56-42. Think about that. 14-point deficit. They became the third team since 2022 to rally from a 14-point deficit in the Final Four. Kansas in 2022, San Diego State in 2023 were the other teams. If the loss felt like deja vu for Duke fans, it was 21 years ago. Wow. It was. It was 21 years ago when the Duke Blue Devils lost a similar game in 2004. Duke was leading UConn by 7 points with just over 3 minutes to go. I remember I was there before losing a close one. That game was held in the Dome. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Well, better luck next time. Houston, I think Calvin Sampson's going to get his first national championship. I do. All right. USC women's standout, great player, I think, Juju Watkins, was selected the 2025 winner of the John R. Wooden Award Saturday for the best women's basketball player in America, beating out Paige Beckers. Who is more deserving of the top award? Here we go. Let's look it up. Juju Watkins, 24, 6.8 boards, 3.4 assists, 82%, 43% from the field. Paige Beckers, 20 points, 4.4, 4.7, 88.2, 54 from the field. Well, here's the deal. Juju Watkins, best player in college basketball. And Juju Watkins' team would have probably gone to the NCAA Final Four. I don't have the pairings in front of me, so maybe they would have lost to UConn. But if they weren't in UConn's bracket, which they weren't, they were going to go to the Final Four. Juju Watkins, to me, deserves to be the National Player of the Year in women's basketball because she's the best player. Now, who's the happiest player? Happiest player is Paige Beckers. Why? Well, whether she did or didn't get the National Player of the Year, she just got a national championship by 23. 82 to, 59? Like, what are we doing? So good for Paige Beckers and good for Juju Watkins. I hope Juju Watkins comes back from the knee injury. I do. Knee injuries are tough, and she's had them before. I don't like it. All right, let's go back. Final four, recap. Tonight's national championship game. Florida takes down Auburn. Here's the deal with Florida, man. This is so interesting. Florida didn't get much from its bench. The Hawk kid had 12, I think, and that led him. Florida's supposed to have, quote, 2 of everything. They're supposed to have, hey, we got 2 of everything. You do? Well, you didn't last night. I mean, you're supposed to, but you didn't. Did it bother them? No. And I got to tell you something else. And first time since Larry Bird, 1978. 79. Now think about this, what I'm going to say. First time somebody's had back-to-back 33-point games, 30-point games in the NCAA tournament since Larry effing Bird. That's Walter Clayton Jr. In fact, if you're going to say to me, what do you think would happen tonight? I would tell you, I think Walter Clayton Jr. has to struggle. I do. I mean, I know he's on a generational run. But Houston, Houston has a great defense, and Walter Clayton Jr. has been on such a run. Like, he ain't averaging 30 over the course of the year. That's why I think Houston's going to win the game. I do. I think Houston's going to win the game because Walter Clayton Jr. isn't going to be able, I don't think, to continue this, put a team on the back, and let's go. Elijah Martin, excuse me. Did you know this? He was second leading scorer the other night. Did you know this? This kid, Martin, he played at Florida Atlantic. Man, did Dusty May do a great job at Florida Atlantic. I mean, damn. Johnny Davis played fantastic for Arkansas. Vlad Golden played fantastic for Michigan. And this guy here, Martin, is tremendous for Florida. You want to talk about evaluating. You want to talk about getting the right players and understanding what they will become, because they were not this when they came out of high school. Man, did Dusty May, friend of the show, do a hell of a job. So what does Florida have to do? Sounds stupid, all right? Walk with me here. You can't have scoring droughts. What does that mean? How do you stop it? Great shots. When in doubt, go inside. When in doubt, put pressure on the defense. If you can't do it with the dribble and the high ball screen action, getting into the lane, get that damn ball on the block. Make Houston react. Don't let Houston's defense set. You let Houston's defense set, they're stifling. You make them react, they're like everybody else. They'll make mistakes. The more a defense has to move, the more chance a defense has of making a mistake. Make a move. How do you make a move? Penetrate, turn the corner, second dribble. First dribble, they guard. Second dribble, not so much. Not great. Not terrible. Not great. Not nearly like the first dribble. Throw the ball inside. Maybe throw the ball inside early, but don't take just crazy, quick, forced shots. Transition shots, if you're Florida, great. That's your thing. Walter Clayton Jr., great. That's your thing. But don't be jacking up shots with somebody coming out. Use the shot fake. Use the shot fake. Get people moving. Get them off balance. Because if they're not off balance, they're going to strangle you. They are. But this is going to be a good game tonight. It's going to be a really, really good game tonight. From the Houston side of it, there's absolutely nothing that you have to do except go back and figure out, why were you down 14? I'll tell you why you're down 14. You really didn't have a handle defensively. And this is what I say. They weren't great for a while. I don't think Houston played a great basketball game on both ends. As I said, they missed a ton of shots early. Ton of shots. And Duke did exactly what I said until 10 minutes to go. They kept scoring. I'm not saying you're not going to go on a 10-0 run, but you are going to go on something. You just like dripping water. Keep running your stuff. Keep moving the defense. Whatever your special is, wherever you go, whatever your thing is. This is our thing late in clock. This is our thing early. Run it. Don't get excited. But you got to make damn sure. And this is what Houston's trying to do. Good looks, and then have that 5 to 7. It ended up being a 10-minute stretch against Duke where we suffocate you. I mean, we getting your ass, and you ain't getting nothing. Nothing. So, anyway, there you go. Hey, the women's natty was last night. I ain't mad at the women's natty. The women's natty was over early. I mean, that was like, holy hell. I mean, I get it. We all don't want to say one team's better than the other. We all blah, 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 blah. That, looking back on it, might have been the easiest money of the whole tournament. I didn't go to the sports book. I didn't bet it. But, damn, looking back on it, are you kidding me? I mean, Paige Beckers and her crew were fantastic. And a word about Paige Beckers. I don't know where she's going to be in the WNBA. But you know what? She's not going to face criticism of Caitlin Clark. Why? Because she ain't as good. She's really good. Really good. But we've seen her game. I mean, if we're going to be honest, if I'm going to go all Skip Bayless on you, we've seen her game. We know. I mean, she's really good. Great. Not good, great. But we've seen it. And she's going to be fantastic. She's going to make a lot of money. She's going to enhance the women's game. 82-59. You don't see that very often in any championship game, but you did yesterday. And Paige Beckers, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But she ain't Caitlin Clark. She ain't going to move the needle nationally. She will among women's basketball fans, but she's not going to move it crazy. Commissioner of the Major League Baseball. Commissioner of the MLB, Rob Manfred. This is awesome. I like this. Wait for this. He's given his stance on the Torpedo bat that are taking Major League Baseball by storm, saying he believes they are absolutely good for baseball. Yeah, they are. Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire. If you want to say, and if we're going to sit down around the fire and we're going to be honest here, those of you that are old enough remember when Sosa and McGwire went at it on steroids, and we liked it a lot. Oh, man, Sports Illustrated put out a, beautiful portrayal of Wrigley Field during this time. Gorgeous portrayal. I mean, wonderful portrayal. Yeah. And Major League Baseball fans, even non-Major League Baseball fans, were captivated. Home run chase. Chicks dig the long ball was the slogan in commercials. Yeah. So next thing you know, here we are again. Why? Chicks, dudes dig the long ball. This is Manfred. I believe that issues like the torpedo bat and the debate around it demonstrate the fact that baseball still occupies a unique place in our culture because people get into a complete frenzy. Oh, that's good. Over something that is really nothing at the end of the day. The bats comply with the rules. There you go. Nobody's really said that. People were given the impression, I'm going to stop it right there. People were given the impression that the bats were somehow, juiced up, jacked up. There's rules, there's limitations in Major League Baseball, and they comply. Players have actually been moving the sweet spot in bats for years. But it just demonstrates that something about the game is more important than is captured by television ratings or revenue or any of those things. He's right. When you have discussions and debates around it, he's right. That's always what basketball is. Baseball is. Baseball is that like dreamy statistics. Who's going to break what record? Why are we having so many home runs? I want to see home runs. Something's illegal. The spitball, Gaylord Perry. Look it up, you young guys, if you don't know. If you don't know, you'll know. There's always an intrigue around baseball, a fantastic intrigue. Why is he doing that? Why is Brady Anderson hitting 52 home runs after hitting like 15 over the course, season high? I don't know. What's going on around there? Ohtani, 40-40? Nah, let's go 50-50. Oh, the chase is on. No, baseball always has, and I think in my lifetime, always will, hold a great place right here, right in our chest for statistics and history and what the hell's going on around here. I'm glad Manfred said that, though, because I do believe this. I do believe that the general stance has been, hey, those things legal. The Yankees getting over on somebody because a lot of people, including players, you've heard them, have said, well, it's the Yankees. They're going to let them do it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're going to let them do it or not, but Manfred just cleared anything up. Hey, what are you going to do? They're doing what is within the rules, within baseball's regulations.